Spade. Let's go.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome. Happy post 4th of July weekend right here as we're going live right now here on the Mass Steel podcast. We're, of course, yours truly, Charles Prodigy Richey, every Mondays and Wednesdays from 8 to 9 p.m. Going to be trying for a 1 hour show for a little bit longer here. Got plenty of stuff to get into for the time being. Some headlines right now. We got a Steeler signing, by the way, for training camp. How much of an insurance policy will he be? I'm talking about none other than Sam Sloman right now, who's a draft pick, a 7th-round draft pick by the Rams in 2020, ended up finishing the seasons with the Titans. Pretty solid kicker. How much would he be able to make a 53-man roster? Is it just for training camp? Will he be an insurance policy, the Chris Boswell, for this season as it goes on? I'll tell you a little bit more about that a little bit later on, and where that puts the Steelers in their current salary cap positioning. Also, Ed Bichette told Andrew Filipponi of 937 The Fan about a certain Steelers corner who's still flowing out there. I'm sure you'll guess what I'm talking about when we get to that in a few moments from now. Plus, Pro Football Focus also has the latest positional rankings, and find out where they got the Steelers rated at going into this season right now. Basically, as constructed, their biggest strengths, biggest weaknesses. We'll make sure to hit up on that. And plus, Devin Bush right now. Has he got himself mentally in the game right now? Definitely been in the headlines, criticizing teammates for being on social media. Then puts up a tweet of a cat following several stories, more than likely dead, but right now, you really got to start to wonder, guys recovering from knee surgery. They suffered last year against the Browns in Week 6 in Heinz Field. You got to wonder what he's doing right now to get himself prepared. Hope everything's all right, and hopefully this doesn't look controversial. Hopefully it's not a big thing, but to be honest, pretty awkward to say the least, what's been going out there. We'll get off to that today as I got you covered. Once again, you guys can follow me on social media. You can definitely follow me on Twitter at MassSteelCGR for the Mass Steel Podcast, and on Instagram at MassSteel Nation. Hope everyone had a great 4th of July, a great weekend, to say the least. Celebrating this year's America's country right now as we look at it. Basically, what can you say? The 246 years as a country here. I know it's been had a share of controversies as of lately, with everything going on with racial injustices and a lot of things that are much more meaningful. But to say the least, I will say this: hopefully, we continue to learn, get better. There's been a lot of stuff flowing around here this past week, and that's all we got right now. But to be honest, I tell you what, I like where we're at right now. Much better situated position. Unfortunately, I wish I could say more and be more enthusiastic and more optimistic about training camp. Some notes being passed along, but we'll find out in a little bit shortly here. But anyway, let's go ahead and start off with this first signing right now. And none other than Sam Sloman right now, who's coming over from the LA Rams from the Tennessee Titans, 7th-round draft pick of the Rams. He finished up his season with the Titans, basically. And he comes over here to join this team. And we're going to see a little bit more going into this right now, basically. And to be honest, let's see where this thing takes it as we look at things. Basically, for the time being. To be honest, I think this is a good way to get some extra availability guys on here. We look at the difference between the two right now and each of their careers so far. As they look at Chris Boswell right now, who's been a career as far as field goal kicking, with everything going on, he's made 146 of 166 field goals. Then you got Sam Sloman right now for the most part. I mean, going into this year, 10 of 13 as far as his field goal percentage. He's about 77% field goal attempt, 23 of 26 on extra point attempts, basically for this guy. And to be honest, let's show right now. I mean, what does this mean right now? Basically, according to Dale Lolley of DK Pittsburgh Sports, is a and by overthecap.com, if you guys want to take a look at it, is for a 1 year, $780,000. Now, remember, I believe this does not count towards the 53-man roster. But like I said, he helped the Titans late in the season, helped the Titans win the NFC South, nailing down a crucial game winner as time expired in Week 17. And remember that game right there that the Titans were facing. They were facing against the Houston Texans right there. Almost lost the division right there. But then again, I mean, what did the Titans really have to show for it? I mean, after that, they went on to go on to lose to the Ravens in the wild card round of the playoffs. Ravens definitely, of course, extracted some revenge on the Titans, to say the least. And basically, when you look at that playoff game in there, as far as everything right there, I mean, in that, I mean, just trying to think of what else happened. I mean, by the way, I really believe that was a game right there where, I mean, it was Lamar Jackson's coming out party as far as like not winning in the playoffs. Now, Sam Sloman, he did not kick for the Titans in that game. Instead, it was Steven Gostowski, who went 1 for 1, 2 for 2. It was perfect on the day as far as field goal attempts for the most part. But, I mean, Sloman, I mean, when you look at everything that he's been able to do, I mean, for this point, I mean, you look at like his game logs, especially with this season, his only year as we look at it. And right now, his longest for his field goal kicking was being 42 yards, is where he was at. And Sam Sullivan, I mean, for the most part, I wonder like how much like really is this going to be more like an insurance policy for Chris Boswell? Because don't forget this a year ago the Steelers had to make Chris Boswell earn extra money after he struggled back a couple of years ago. I want to say that was either in 2019 or 2020, but still Boswell, I mean, still excellent, consistent kicker for the most part. I mean, Boswell did it where some egg on his face. I mean, in his career here, when you looked at it, I mean, of course, in like his field goals back in 2019, only missed 2, but then he was 13 of 20. He was able to earn his extra, I think, his bonus money. I want to say it was. I forget exactly what it was, but he went 13 of 20 in 2018. Remember, he was also a little bit hurt too down the stretch. I think he was playing hurt that year, but he came back in a big way, rebounding, making 20 out of 31 field goals, and then 19 of 20 last year. And for the most part, I mean, his longest so far as a Steeler came last year when he kicked 59 yards. That's his longest of his career, Chris Boswell. And also, too, I mean, last year was a career high in field goal percentage, but 95%. I expect that to be the case. I'm not sure where that would fit on the Steelers' roster in terms of anything. But also, too, when we look at to make room on the roster, defensive end DeMarcus Christmas was waived injured. He'll go to the reserve and injuries list if he clears waivers. So what do you think? I mean, what do you guys think of the move? I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. I think it's definitely a very noble move. I mean, for the most part. And to be honest, yeah, I don't mind the signing. To be honest, yeah. And I think if anything, right now, when we truly look at this and we truly pay attention to it right now, I think for the most part, what we really need to ask ourselves right now is just more. They want to just try something out, keep Boswell on his toes. I mean, Boswell this year. I mean, as a matter of fact, he is gonna be turned. He's already turned 30 years old going into this season. So, I mean, kickers do usually last a lot longer. But I mean, he is going into a seventh season. I mean, when you think about it too, I mean, don't forget 6 years ago too. Let's not forget Sean Sweezum. He was also lost for the season when he got injured. I forget exactly what the injury was, but it was definitely a season to forget at times. I mean, when you looked at, I mean, like how their season went back in 2015. I mean, you had guys like starting off. I mean, for the Steelers kicking. I mean, let's not forget here. I mean, they had Josh Scobie. He was a disaster. I mean, Josh Scobie, who kicked for the Steelers back in 2015. He was, like I said, his field goals for that year, he was 6 of 10, 60%. Had a hard time kicking from long distance. He was 3 of 7 for anywhere from 40 to 49 yards. And then who else did they sign later on to also experiment with the kicking? I mean, as that season continued went along, I mean, aside from Scobie, they also had on this team too that year. I mean, before Boswell came into the picture, trying to find out who that is. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a real, it was a real need. I mean, the kicker. I mean, to be honest, it almost really kind of like cost the team the playoffs. To be honest, it was a real key factor. I felt very important position, especially if you're not punching in the end zone and you're trying to win close games, which they did. And remember, too, they were also doing it without Ben Roethlisberger for a period of times, too, when we looked at it. I mean, 2015 was also the year we would see the debut of Michael Vick in a black and gold uniform, backing up for Ben Roethlisberger. Before we saw Landry, Landry Jones, I believe it was, who filled in back to a quarterback, did all right for the most part. But when you truly look at it too, I mean, for everything that was going on, I mean, back in 2015, for the most part, I mean, that year the Steelers they were 10th in red zone scoring percentage, and where they went 34 of 56 in the red zone. So they were able to generate enough points. I think they had Ben Roethlisberger at that point lost for about 4 games, beginning with the Ravens, the Chargers, the Cardinals, and the Chiefs. He came back versus Bengals, but that was a year I think they kind of got a little bit lucky, to be honest. Yeah, that was able to weather the storm, so to speak. So to be honest, let's see where this goes as we take a look at overthecap.com, the current cap situation with the Pittsburgh Steelers for the time being, as we look at everything, where they stand. Remember a lot of things we got going on right here. They are currently right now at $13.13 million over in cap space. I mean, which is real good right now. I mean, setting themselves up nicely in a good positioning. I would take it for the most part that this group right now is definitely be more motivated. definitely more than likely we'll probably be seeing Ben Roethlisberger's final season as a Steeler, which possibly could be a reality. But I'm gonna still go back and say and remind a lot of people, I would not be surprised to see this guy playing at the age of 40 if things go well. And if you still don't have your answer, and a guy like Dwayne and Mason Rudolph or Dwayne Haskins, I mean, this is something the size will have to come back, and it's going to be hard to tell if they're going to want to be willing to trade up to draft a quarterback. I mean, it's very rare that the Steelers do trade up in the first round, but I like to hear what the error circle's got to be thinking on this. More than likely, with the clock ticking down on Ben Roethlisberger for the most part going into this.